All right, we're talking about chords, defining chords, and how we can more effectively think chordally as opposed to just in terms of scales. Now we started by looking at the flat three going to the major three. So there's our flat three going to a major three on the one chord of A7. That you should be able to do over each of the chords in the blues. Find the flat three. I've done a series of 3 videos now concerning that over each one of the chords in a blues. But now I'd like to look at the flat 5. How does the flat 5 work against the chord? Everybody knows this pentatonic scale. Now, when you add the flat 5, and it's called the flat 5 when we count the other diatonic notes in the scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? The other diatonic note. And then we flat the 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's our flat 5. We add that to the pentatonic scale. Right, and there's a minor blues scale. But what happens when we think of this in terms of the chord itself, right? So let's listen to that a little bit. Here is a flat 5. Right, so it's a pretty funky note if you're hanging around on it. If you took that flat 5 note and put it in the chord of A7, making it A7 with a flat 5, that's not a chord that you're going to hear often in the blues, but the point being made here is that is what you're implying, right? So it's all going to be a matter of duration. Like, how long do you want to hang around on that flat 5 note? How long do you think it sounds okay, right? There it is. So the idea here is that the flat 5 is a color, and it can be used, you can sit on that color, or you can pass by that very funky blue note with just, quickly. And it just sounds like a passing note. It sounds like a cool color. It all depends on duration. It all depends on duration. Duration is a big deal. Like, how long do I want to force that sound into the chord? And the objective of this series of lessons is to think chordally. Duration is a big deal. Like how long you let a note sit. If you let a note sit for a bit, it means that you're implying that note against the chord. That's cool to do when you've got notes that are in the chord, like a 7th or a 3. You can sit on them forever because they're in the chord. But when you're using a note that's not in the chord, such as a flat 5, you have to be aware of the effect that you want to create when you're thinking chordally, right? If all you're doing is thinking licks and you're playing 100 miles an hour through a bunch of blues scale licks, that's a whole different trip. And, I guess if you're playing fast enough, who knows, right? But that's not what we're talking about here. What we're talking about here is thinking chordally. These lines, like this in a blues, would apply almost directly into jazz, for instance, and yeah. possibly other forms as well. Yeah, probably modern country as well. Okay, so that's just thinking about the flat 5, right? It doesn't belong in the chord. It's implied against the chord, and duration is going to really matter. But the important thing is that you're aware of what you're doing. You're aware of what that note sounds like against the chord. And short duration is no big deal. Okay, good. Thanks, and we'll talk to you real soon.